This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Hurler. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And like the past few days, this birthday boy is deceased right now. But I mean, it doesn't take away from the fact that he's a legend. He was the Yankees' star shortstop for 13 years in the 40s and 50s. Never playing for another team other than that. Part of the Baseball Hall of Fame since 1994. He was on a dynasty that had 10 AL pennants in his 13 seasons and 7 world titles. He still holds many World Series records for shortstops, even more so than Derek Jeter, and that's saying a lot. He was an MVP at one time, known for his strong defense in the infielder and as a small ball player with getting plays and all that. Unfortunately, though, he did hit into a lot of double plays. But it was after his career that he was well known. 40 years as a radio and TV sports announcer for the Yankees, known for that famous expression, "Holy cow." His name, Phil RIzzuto, who was born September 25th, 1917 in Brooklyn. A lot of people said it was 1917, some say 1918. But the New York City Department of Health said it was 1917. So anyway, he grew up in Queens. And he was had a modest size, 5'6" and about 150 pounds. He played baseball and football in high school and then signed with the Yankees as a free agent in 1937. Of course, the draft culture in MLB wasn't around since 1965. So anyway, he was known as Scooter because of the way he ran the bases. So anyway, he was the minor league player of the year for Kansas City, a AAA affiliate of the Yankees in 1940. He played in the majors April 14th, 1941, taking over for Frankie Crosetti. RIzzuto quickly fit into the Yankees lineup to form a great middle infielder with Joe Gordon at second base. It was a good second base shortstop combination. RIzzuto, in his rookie season, got to the World Series. The Yankees won the World Series thanks to part. That was the World Series in which Mickey Owen had that terrible pass ball. But anyway, RIzzuto didn't hit well in the World Series, but they still won the game. However, RIzzuto would change things up. When the Yankees played the Cardinals in the 42 World Series, he had 8 hits and a 381 average. And he even hit a home run in the World Series. Now remember, back in the 40s, you could only make the World Series one team per league. So you had a 1 in 8 chance. Anyway, he was serving in the U.S. Navy during World War II, like many baseball stars of his day. He played for a Navy baseball team alongside Pee-wee Reese. Shortly after RIzzuto's return to the Yankees in civilian life in 1946, he attracted the ire of the new Yankees general manager and president, Larry McPhail, who was the former president and general manager of the Dodgers. McPhail actually served in both world wars, was hard-drinking, temperate, and paranoid, but as a baseball executive was innovative and was a near genius. McPhail became aware that Jorge Pascal was going to try to poach players out of the major leagues for his Mexican leagues. And rumors were circulating that RIzzuto was going to go to Mexico for years for $100,000. All that. Of course, on opening day, Happy Chandler, the commissioner, said that all contracting players moving to Mexico or Cuba would be suspended from the major leagues for 5 years. And so there were problems with the Pascals and all that, and McPhail and Phil RIzzuto and all that. So, anyway, headed to Mexico, Cuba. Not necessarily to play, I think. So there were some massive issues and all that. The Yankees were distracted by this, and RIzzuto's average went down to 257. And Chandler let Americans return to their home clouds with no penalty. So anyway, RIzzuto did quite well, though, too, with his fielding percentage. In 1950, he was moved into the leadoff spot, and in his MVP season, he batted .324 with 200 hits and scored 125 runs. He actually led the league in fielding percentage and actually handled 238 chances without an error, setting the single-season record for shortstops. He actually had a 58-game errorless streak at shortstop. It was only broken by Ed Brinkman in 1972. RIzzuto, his .982 batting average fielding percentage was a record for Yankee shortstops until 1976 when Fred Stanley hit it with a .983 mark. RIzzuto was runner-up in the MVP voting in 1949 behind Ted Williams, but then he won the MVP in 1950 by a large margin. He was the only MVP to lead the league in sacrifice bunts. He played in 5 All-Star games and was given the Hickok Bio for top professional athlete of the year. The Yankees went to the World Series in 1950 and won their second in a row. And in 1951, he batted .320, making him the best series player. The World Series MVP was not awarded then. RIzzuto would have won that for sure. Anyway, RIzzuto was a pretty good shortstop and all that, known for strong defense, small ball, and clutch hitting, having to win 7 World Series and all that, and one of the best bunters around. He was among the top 5 in stolen bases 7 times. All that. RIzzuto still is part of the top 10 in World Series categories, including games, hits, walks, runs, and steals. RIzzuto would actually be released by the Yankees August 1956. The release circumstances were huge. Late in the 56 season, the Yankees got Eno Slaughter to play for the postseason push and asked RIzzuto to meet with the front office to discuss adjustments to the postseason roster. Then they asked RIzzuto to look over the Yankees players and suggest which ones might be cut to make room for Slaughter. And for each name RIzzuto mentioned, a reason was given as to why that player needed to be kept. And then RIzzuto realized that the expendable name was his own. He was actually told by Stuffy Sternway, why he's a former Yankee, to refrain from blasting the Yankees because it might cost him a non-playing job later. So he kept his mouth shut. He practically retired, not playing for anyone other than the Yankees. It was pretty good and all that. Yeah, but he still holds a lot of World Series records for shortstops, including games played, singles, walks, times on base, stolen bases, and at bats. Not even Derek Jeter has done that. His personal life, he actually married Cora in June of 1943. He was actually substituting for Joe DiMaggio as a speaker at a communion breakfast in Newark. It says, I fell in love so hard I didn't go home. The RIzzutos were amazing and all that. RIzzuto actually met a boy named Ed Lucas who lost his sight when he was struck by a baseball between the eyes on the same day as Bobby Thompson shot her around the world. RIzzuto actually took an interest in the boy in a school, St. Joseph's School for the Blind, and would raise millions for St. Joseph's and all that. Ed Lucas's 2006 wedding was the only one conducted at Yankee Stadium, and actually was one of RIzzuto's last visitors at a nursing home. So he was a blind sports writer who covered the Yankees. RIzzuto was terrified of snakes and didn't like people choking him. Regardless of that, RIzzuto actually had options following his release. The Cardinals offered him a deal, and the Dodgers gave him a minor league chance. But RIzzuto actually decided to pursue broadcasting because he actually filled in for the Giants host Frankie Frisch in 1956 when Frisch had a heart attack. So he submitted an audition tape to Baltimore But the Yankees sponsor Valentine Beer took notice and said that the team needed to hire Scooter as an announcer for 1957. Anyway, George Weiss fired Jim Woods, who was only the Yankees for 4 years, but to make room for RIzzuto. RIzzuto would broadcast Yankees games on the radio and TV for the next 40 years with his "Holy cow" catchphrase. He was known as saying "unbelievable" or "did you see that" to describe a great play, and would call someone a huckleberry if he did something that RIzzuto did not like. He would frequently wish listeners a happy birthday or anniversary during broadcasts and get well wishes to fans in hospitals and speak well of restaurants. RIzzuto would actually distract himself, and on the scorecard he would say WW for wasn't watching. He would also joke about leaving the game early, saying to his wife, "I'll be home soon, Cora. I gotta get over that bridge." In later years, RIzzuto would actually announce the first 6 innings of Yankee games and would depart. The TV director would punctually show a shot of the bridge, George Washington Bridge, after RIzzuto had departed. RIzzuto hated lightning and all that. However, RIzzuto started his broadcasting career alongside 2 other legends of baseball broadcasting, Mel Allen and Red Barber in 1957. He also worked with Frank Messer for 17 years and Bill White for 17 years before White became the National League president, back when the league's American National League had president. It would always be RIzzuto, Messer, and White who would be the main broadcast trio for the Yankees in the 1970s and all that. That team had not changed from 1972 to 1982. That would be amazing what they could do. And yet, them rotating play-by-play and all that. Messer would do 3 innings, Bill White would do 3 innings, and RIzzuto would do 3 innings, I think. That's the rotation or something with the TV and the radio. Because I know that Phil RIzzuto called the first few innings of that 1978 AL East battle between the Yankees and Red Sox, the 1-game playoff, and then it was Bill White, who was the guy who called Bucky Dent's home run. Anyway, RIzzuto did his due justice. I remember Phil RIzzuto calling the game for the Yankees TV network in 1989 when Dave Stieb was about to throw a perfect game. And then RIzzuto said after Roberto Kelly got a hit off Stieb ruining the perfect game with 2 outs in the 9th. Holy cow, can you believe that? With 2 outs in the 9th, he broke it up. Anyway, RIzzuto would work the 1964 World Series for NBC back when, well, with the Yankees and Cardinals, back when the main play-by-play guys would call the games with Kurt Gowdy. So Gowdy would be one of them, and then the other guy would be the play-by-play guy from another network, like from the team, one of the teams. When the game, for example, when the games were held at Yankee Stadium, Scooter was the guy in the booth with Gowdy. But with the Cardinals, there was a young Harry Carey. So anyway, RIzzuto was on NBC, joining Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek on NBC when the Yankees faced the Reds. That was when Gowdy was released from NBC. Some say because of his criticism in the 1975 World Series, baseball needed to replace him, but they figured that Gowdy deserved better. Well, the Yankee WPIX 11 would actually carry the ALCS when the Yankees made in 76, 77, 78, 80, and 81 with RIzzuto, Messer, and White as an alternative to the nationally broadcast telecast when they were allowed to. RIzzuto did not refer to his broadcast partners by their first names, only by their last names. And RIzzuto did develop a reputation as a homer, as an announcer who would lapse into opening rooting for the home team. In 1978, after Pope Paul VI died, Rizzuto goes, well, that kind of puts the damper on even a Yankee win. Anyway, Rizzuto would call a couple of key moments, too. In 1961, when Roger Maris was aiming for home run number 61, he made the call. Here's the windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow, he did it. 61 for Maris. And look for the fight for that ball up there. Holy cow, what a shot. Another standing ovation for Maris, and they're still fighting for that ball out there, climbing over each other's backs. One of the greatest sights I've ever seen at Yankee Stadium. He was on the mic in that Yankees Red Sox one game thing, the Pine Tar game in following George by 1983. When he did the radio, it says, holy cow, he did it, and all that. So, anyway, on the evening of Mickey Mantle's funeral, the Yankees were supposed to play the Red Sox. And Bobby Mercer had already left to attend the funeral. Rizzuto was not permitted to leave, as they needed someone to do color commentary. But Rizzuto abruptly left the booth after 5 innings, saying he could not go on, and he decided to announce his retirement soon afterwards. However, the Yankees did persuade him to come back for 1996 and retired for good at the end of the season. So, apart from military service, he spent the first 60 years of his life in the adult life in the Yankee organization as a minor league player, a major league player, or a broadcaster. Rizzuto served 40 years and is still the longest serving broadcaster in Yankees history, even longer than John Sterling, who just retired. Because Sterling, I know, was doing Brave games in 1985. And of course, that was the year of my birth. So, anyway, Rizzuto was actually the first ever mystery guest on the hit game show What's My Line? And he would make 4 more appearances on the show. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show, To Tell the Truth, and the Phil Silvers Show, aka Sergeant Bilko. He would actually host a 5-minute weekday evening sports show called It's Sports Time with Phil Rizzuto for 20 years. And was known for his TV ads for the Money Store. Rizzuto actually provides play-by-play commentary during the long-spoken bridge in Paradise by the Dashboard Light. So, reminder that. So, yeah, he made a lot of appearances. Actually, Phil Rizzuto, was it Phil Rizzuto or Mel Allen, who were supposed to have a speaking part in the Woody Allen show, Woody Radio Days, and they had to cut that part out of the movie, and then Rizzuto got an apology letter, I think. Well, anyway, the Yankees retired as number 10, August 4th, 1985, the year of my birth, and was given the plaque at Monument Park. It says he's enjoyed 2 outstanding careers, all-time Yankee shortstop, one of the great Yankee broadcasters. And Rizzuto actually was bumped to the ground during his own ceremony by a live cow wearing a halo. Holy cow. Oddly enough, that actually was the same day as Tom Seaver's 300th career win for the White Sox against the Yankees. That was like August 6th, 1985 he did it, but no, he did it. And his 300th career victory, and that was the day Rizzuto was retired. A lot of people, including Rizzuto himself, says that Derek Jeter surpassed him as the greatest Yankee shortstop ever. Anyway, it was just amazing what happened and all that. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1994 by the veterans community. A lot of people said that Rizzuto should have been in the Hall of Fame in the first place. Even Ted Williams thought that Rizzuto deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. So, anyway, yeah. He did a lot of things and all that. Questions were raised about his health when he did not attend the Cooperstown reunion in 2005 and Old Timers Day in 2006. His last public appearance came early in 2006. Visibly frail, he announced he was putting much of his memorabilia on the market. The majority of the proceeds went to St. Joseph's School for the Blind, as I mentioned about that kid. His MVP plaque fetched $175,000. RIzzuto would have muscle atrophy and problems with his esophagus and all that. And he actually revealed that much of his stomach was removed when he had an operation. It was treated with medical steroids. RIzzuto would die in his sleep August 13th, 2007, exactly 12 years to the day of Mickey Mantle's death, and a month shy of his 90th birthday. He was really in declining health and all that. RIzzuto was survived by his wife Cora, who had died in 2010. Who then died in 2010. 3 daughters and a son, and 2 granddaughters. So Phil RIzzuto was just that great in the broadcast booth, and holy cow, he deserved every mention. Anyway, I'm going to do